Ah, and we're coming into frame and welcome back to another episode of Behind the Counter with Chef Mimmo. Today we're going to talk about the Osso Buco, our house specialty Ferraro since the late 80s, which literally translates into hole in the bone, which is where the delicacy bone marrow is, and it is the best bite of the entire dish, which, back in the day, this was a peasant food. This was something that, was the leftover because everybody wanted the filet or all these better cuts, which is where some of these royal dishes came from. So this gets lightly dusted with seasoned flour. Then we're going to drop it into a hot pan of extra virgin olive oil. We only use extra virgin olive oil when we cook. We're going to sear this on both sides. After it's got a nice sear to it on both sides, we're looking for a nice golden brown color. We're going to take this out and we're going to add our mirepoix with carrots, celery, onions, little bit of garlics, and we're going to put some aromatics in there, some fresh rosemary and some bay leaves. Once the vegetables are nice and browned, we're going to reintroduce the Osso Buco to the vegetables. We're going to cook that for a little bit, get the pan and get the Osso Buco nice and hot. Then we're going to hit it with a good amount of red wine, and we're going to let that red wine reduce. We want to kind of burn off some of that alcohol flavor, and we want the intensity of the wine and that color. That's where the dish kind of gets its colors from, is the reduction of that red wine. Once the red wine is reduced to where we want it, we're going to add a little bit of a plum tomato that we just ground down, a little bit of salt and pepper. We're going to put some veal demi, which is actually the sauce of the Osso Buco that we made yesterday. So we're already building those flavors of this rich, beautiful roast. And at the end, we're going to add a little bit of vegetable stock, and we're going to kind of bring this to a boil on the stovetop. We're going to throw it in the oven, and this could take anywhere from about 3 hours to about 4 hours in the oven, depending on the veal itself. So we'll check it in a little bit for its tenderness. Once this is fall off the bone and fork tender, we're going to take the Osso Buco out. We're going to kind of clean them up. We're going to strain the sauce, reduce it to where we want it, and then make a little saffron risotto Milanese. Very classic Milanese dish, which is where Osso Buco came from. The Lombardy area, Milan. This is a Milano inspired or Milano classic dish with the saffron risotto as well. So two separate recipes that kind of fell in love and became the Osso Buco con risotto Milanese. Still the house favorite, our house specialty, and it will be forever. Now we're going to get into some wines and highlight what we feel is a perfect pairing for these wines. And we have 4 producers that we're doing today, 4 different styles of wine. And these are wineries and winemakers that are very dear to the Ferraro family, that have become friends over the years. And we'll stay in the northern Italy area. We're not in Lombardy anymore, but we're going to be in Piedmont, getting into the Nebbiolo grape with Barbaresco. So Barbaresco is 100% Nebbiolo, known as the queen of wines. Right next to it is Barolo, which is also 100% Nebbiolo and known as the king of wines. So the Barbaresco is going to be aged a little bit less than the Barolo. It's going to have a little bit more fruit forwardness. It's not going to be as tannic as the king, Barolo. So Barolo needs to be aged a little bit longer. It's got to stay and have oak contact a little bit longer. This is going to be a bigger, bolder, more tannic wine. Now we're going to shift gears and go towards all the way to the left over here. You're right. We're going to be in Verona, which is an Amarone. So Bertani Amarone, again, I chose them because of relationship. I was just there with my wife and some family, and they opened up a 1967 bottle of Amarone, which was probably one of the best wines I ever drank. They still make a very classic Amarone, which some Amarone makers have kind of modernized their way, but they stay classic and true to what Amarone, I believe, should be. Then we get into Brunello di Montalcino. So this is in Tuscany. This is a town of Montalcino. And again, Brunello is a Sangiovese grape. Sangiovese is just a very food-friendly wine, but still big enough and bold enough to handle and stand up to the Osso Buco. Summer in Italy, right around the corner. June 15th through August 23rd. It's going to be a 4-course dinner for $75 a person. Great menu, a lot of lighter fare, things that are not on the regular menu. Stuffed zucchini flowers, prosciutto and melone with a little bit of stracciatella, some saba and some fresh mint. What says more than summer than prosciutto melone? Getting into some pasta courses, the fettuccine nerano, which is a beautiful zucchini pasta, a little bit of lemon zest, and our pistachio gnocchi, which have been a hit. So that is coming back to the menu for summer in Italy. And then getting into a beautiful veal limon, just veal scallopini, a very light lemon sauce, and our salmon, which is going to be done with a pesto pistachio risotto, which is absolutely beautiful. So these were a couple fan favorites that were on the menu last year that we are bringing back just because of the demand and people asking for them throughout the year. So what better time than the summer and summer in Italy? And then of course you have your choices of desserts, from tiramisu to our pistachio to a little bit of gelato to kind of keep things fresher and cold and lighter. If you can't get to Italy this summer, let us bring Italy to you at Ferraro's.